Well, Todd, I welcome you back to SuperChat.
Good afternoon, Gary.
It's always a pleasure to speak with you. We always have some interesting chatter going on. Well, to start us out here on the podcast, can you provide our listeners with an update regarding your operating levy?
Yeah, our operating levy is very big for the Northwest Local School District. We will be putting a renewal of an operating levy on the ballot in May. If this levy is not renewed, our school district would lose about $7.3 million a year. The county auditor has certified the emergency levy at 5.04 mils. And what this means is the renewal, if passed, for a homeowner of a $100,000 home will pay an estimated $148, which will be lower than what they currently are paying at $154. So if the renewal is passed, the property owner will get to keep their 2.5% homestead and 10% rollback relief from the state. If it does not pass, they lose the rollback and the homestead permanently. And just to remind folks, the homestead and rollback is paid by the state on the behalf of property owners for any levy passed between 1972 and 2013. So this is a renewal of an operating levy that's worth about $7.3 million. Very important to keep things going in our district. It's no new taxes. It is the renewing of a levy that will keep $7.3 million in the district. The difference between this one is that instead of it being a 5-year renewal, it will be a 10-year renewal. This again gives us the ability to lock in the 2.5% homestead and the 10% rollback relief. So we want to get that locked in for our homeowners. This is being fiscally responsible. The new tax bracket that is provided by the county auditor shows that by voting for this renewal, taxes will actually go down, which rarely happens. So it's a very important thing for our district and our kids.
So it's not new, slightly less. It's a renewal.
It's a renewal, and it's a renewal of monies that the district counts on to get the education our kids need.
Of course. Well, let's transition right into a report on the latest status of your building project. Things, I'll bet you're chomping at the bit for spring, aren't you?
Oh, we are. But I tell you what, the month of February has felt like spring to begin with some temperatures in the 50s and 60s. So we're actually going to be able to hit the construction ground a little bit early, start the main construction part sooner than we thought because of the forecast and what it looks for the next 15, 20 days. So the main thing we've been doing that I wanted the public to be aware of is working on our GMP, which is our guaranteed maximum price. So we started out with a $76 million project, and we were building new schools, and then we were also doing permanent improvement items on our other schools, which is what we promised when we passed the bond levy. And as early results come in, the bidding has gone very well for the district. So we're looking at our bidding when everything's said and done on our 3 new schools. We're looking at saving about $500,000 to $1 million less than what we put out there for the 3 new buildings. So it's an important thing for us because when we went into this process, we wanted contractors and architects that would work together. That's why we chose design build. We don't have the contractors coming at us from one side, the architects from the other. They are working hand in hand, and Megan Skanska and SHP have done an outstanding job. And because of their continuous efforts to do what's best with our money and with our schools and to get us the best 21st century learning schools there are, we're going to save about $500,000 to $1 million because our guaranteed maximum price is coming in lower than what we projected. So this is great news. It can go into more of our permanent improvement projects because of this savings and because of passing it originally. We are looking at White Oak Middle School being fully air conditioned by the start of next school year, August 2017, and then Coleraine High School and Pleasant Run Middle School by the start of August 2018. So at that time, we will have the majority of our schools, if not all of them, fully air conditioned. We start school earlier than we used to because of state assessments, but everything's working great. And I think we're being good stewards of our money and doing what's best for our kids.
Mm-hmm. I want to change directions altogether, Todd. You know, as you well know, from time to time, I'm sure throughout your entire career you've seen this, but at a national level, at a state level. There's legislation that causes you to have to operate different, and it's on and on and on. Many of these things are unfunded mandates, but without going down that track, I just wanted to ask you a general question related to the Every Student Succeeds Act and what the local area superintendents have been doing to make sure their voices are heard in all of this.
I think we have reached our full potential as superintendents and what we can do. So we need some parental involvement. What's been happening for the last 6 to 12 months is superintendents have been getting together throughout the entire state, having monthly meetings and looking at what ESSA will change. And ESSA, if people aren't aware, there used to be No Child Left Behind. ESSA is the replacement of that. And so our focus has been too many Ohio students are at risk of not receiving their high school diploma because Ohio is over-testing and testing the wrong things in our mind. The high school end-of-course exams are not fair and not an accurate measurement of the students' knowledge and skills. We have worked closely as school districts, and it's different. You have urban, suburban, and rural. So your business and your community is very different in each of those settings. But the one key thing we've heard from our business community is that students need to be able to think critically, they need to be able to collaborate, and they need to be able to communicate effectively. And these tests do not measure the practical application of any of these. This all affects our junior class and the 5 pathways to graduation, but the way it currently is, we've had new tests the last 3 years in most of our subject areas. And we need to get some local control given back to what we need to do in terms of Ohio versus federal requirements. The federal law states a certain amount of assessments that need to be given. Ohio gives 7 additional assessments than is needed or required by federal law. And that takes a lot of time out of testing. I'm having hard conversations with K through 6 parents who say, I don't like all the testing. That's all my kid does. We are in agreement 100%. But we have marched on Columbus. We've visited the Board of Education. We have had rallies outside of the state capitol building. What we now need is our help from our parents. So what they're going to find on our website is a draft of a message that they can send to our state legislatures, because our new superintendent is listening to us. The legislatures are meeting around the state in different counties and talking about it. But what we're basically getting told now is if you want to convince legislatures to change things, then the folks who vote, our parents, need to be active in what we send up there. So I am going to put a rough draft of a draft message to legislatures. It will go to Governor John Kasich. It will go to the state board president, Tess Eshoff, the local state board rep, Pat Bruns, our state superintendent, and then everybody else associated with this. So parents will have a chance to go on there. All they need to do is copy and paste the draft. There are spaces for them to add why they think there's too much testing in the state of Ohio, and other areas where they can add what they expect to see out of their son or daughter's education. So this is a big push for us.
How soon will parents be able to find this draft of this letter on your website?
The draft has been given to our website coordinator, and we expect it to be up fully by this coming Thursday.
Okay, so yet this week. Very good. Todd, you're working on a kindergarten pilot. Fill me in on what this is all about.
Yeah, as we promised with the bond levy passage, when we built new schools, the district would go to all-day kindergarten in August 2018. So right now, we're all half-day kindergarten, and we have seed programs in the afternoon, which is additional daycare for the kids. But since we are moving to all-day kindergarten in August 2018, we want to take a year to pilot it at 3 different schools. So we're going to have a lottery. We're going to have information available on our website and on the school sites where parents can join the lottery and try to enroll in 3 of our full all-day classes of kindergarten. We want to find out what curriculum we need, how much can be done throughout a specific day, get more time on reading and math, but also get more time on what kids need emotionally, physically, mentally, academically, and anything else that applies to a little kindergarten starting at school, because sometimes there's a big age difference in them also. But we have to pilot it first. That'll help us develop our curriculum, and that will help us declare what a day for a kindergarten child should look like.
Sure. Well, it is that time of the year. I mean, I don't know where the time goes. It just flies by. Preschool enrollment for you has been going on this month, and you have kindergarten registration beginning soon. Can you give our listeners the details of what they need to know as to when kindergarten registration begins and the details there?
Yeah, and the very difficult part for us is we have to estimate how many teachers we need for this. So if we can get enrollment to start March 1st and have the majority of it done by the end of May, it gives us a good example or ideal of how many teachers we'll need. Because the earlier you can get teachers, the more quality you get. I'm not going to say that if you hire somebody late in the summer, they're not of good quality, but you have a bigger pool to choose from. And we've hired some in late August that are sometimes some of our best teachers we have out there. But we would rather have the kids on the books and listed because this helps us plan for next year. Going to all-day kindergarten, we're expecting large gains in kindergarten enrollment and preschool enrollment because going to all day, a mom or a dad no longer have to worry about, well, how do I pick them up at 11? Or if they're in the PM kindergarten, how do I get them to school by 12:30? We know parents work. We know it's better for our kids to be in school all day, and it should just help us overall. So if folks could really pay attention, we'll advertise it as much as we can. I know last year our enrollment department had a bus going through neighborhoods with information about enrollment. They had the football teams at each high school delivering door to door to remind people of kindergarten enrollment. It's just a hard thing to project out there, and we need to know our numbers as soon as possible.
Yeah, in terms of staffing, I think all schools are in the same boat. The sooner the better. And so getting registration done early, people, it does help the schools. And something else you can check off your list and be prepared for when your student begins in the fall, and it'll be here before we know it. Todd, one final thing. I just thought I wanted to throw this out there for you to see if you had any final comments, I don't know, related to what we've been talking about or for the best of the school district in general. Anything at all?
I just want to remind parents that our classified employees, and specifically our bus drivers, work very hard and are very good at what they do. And every morning they're taking on the safety of driving the bus. Sometimes it's rainy out. Sometimes there's some slick patches because of ice and snow. They work very hard at staying focused on what they're doing, making sure the kids get to school safely and get home from school safely. We've recently had a couple situations where parents thought it was okay to get on the bus to have conversations with our bus drivers. Our bus drivers are there to protect our kids. If parents have issues with a kid on a bus or with the bus driver, there are numbers that is available for them to call. But I just want to make sure parents understand it is against the law to get on our school bus and yell at, berate, or get on our bus driver because you don't agree with something. We try our best to please 100% of our population, 100% of our customers being our parents. But sometimes there's disagreements and just need to remind folks that we have little kindergartners on bus, first graders, second graders. They can be very intimidated by someone yelling, screaming, or getting onto a bus when they're not supposed to. I don't want to alarm everyone. It very seldom happens. I just want to remind parents, even when you're calling the main office of a school, be respectful. Yes, we understand it's your baby, and yes, we understand you care more than anybody else, but we want to work with you to get the best solution to all problems. So our bus drivers do a good job. We just want everybody to recognize what the law is and what safety concerns we have.
Sure. Good comments. Well, Todd, I want to express my gratitude to you for sharing all this information today. I'm sure parents and members of the community at large appreciate hearing all about the collection of topics we've covered, and I want to thank you for joining me today here on SuperChat.
Thanks, Gary. I appreciate it.